really sweet thing. All right, here we go. Good Shabbos! Good Shabbos! Welcome back. We're going to open up the Siddur, the prayer book, and turn to page 1. Be down at the last stanza on that first page. Good Shabbos. I have a feeling between the cold and the parking situation and maybe people bringing stuff in that there may be more people who come in, after this moment. And so I'm just going to put this out there for everybody who is sitting over here. If you want to be brave and bold and move to over there, it will make it so that people don't have to climb over you. I'm watching every single person come in and look at how far away this looks. And and I'm feeling for them. Thank you. Bless you. Bless you. You're all very good people. And if there's no one who comes by halfway through, move back. All right. You are all good people. So there are a lot of iconic moments. Tova! Oh my goodness. No. There are a lot of iconic moments in this week's Torah portion. And one of them is it begins right when the parsha opens, as everyone gets settled. And we learn where we get our name as a Jewish people. And it is where Jacob, who we know as Jacob at that moment, is all alone on a riverbank, and he's about to have an intense encounter that he is very scared about, which I'm going to talk about later. But nonetheless, he is all alone, and a figure confronts him. And it's not clear if this figure is a man, is an angel, is a demon, is his own subconscious, sort of like a Fight Club situation where, at the end there's a reveal that actually it was... Spoiler alert for a movie that came out 20 years ago? No. Sorry, everybody. Now I feel like I should just go in hard. Oh my God. The statute of limitations is over. Okay, you guys, in Fight Club, it is revealed that he's just wrestling with himself. Okay? Yeah. But now go back and watch the movie and think about how brilliant it is. But clearly they got the idea from this week's Torah portion. And so what happens is Jacob and this figure, this Ish, are wrestling until dawn, and nobody's won yet. And so Jacob says to the other, I will not let you go until you bless me. And the other says to him, what's your name? Jacob says, Jacob. And then the figure says back to him, your name will now be Yisrael, to struggle, because you have struggled with beings divine and men, and you have survived, you have prevailed. And so this is what Yisrael means. This is where it comes from, to struggle with divine's being that might be actual divine beings or figments of your own imagination that you wrestle with and find blessing in, that you do not stop that wrestling until you wrest a blessing from that wrestle. And so as we come in here on Friday night, I know often the week can feel like a relentless wrestling match. Maybe not just with one thing, but with many things. And we come here buzzing with the energy from the week and try to actually stop wrestling for a moment, to put down the struggle and to find the blessing. Nonetheless, to look back and to try and find the blessing in all that wrestling. So, welcome to Mishkan. Hello, I'm Rabbi Lizzie. Many of you look very familiar to me, and I'm so happy to see you, people who I've seen recently and people who I have not seen recently. Is there anybody who's here for the first time tonight? You can, put your hand in the air. Yeah, welcome. Yes, you get applause. You get applause. Welcome. I'm so glad that on this cold night you ventured out here, and hopefully this room will get warmer. But if it doesn't, hopefully we will provide warmth for each other. Reminds me of my bat mitzvah was on January 15th, 1994, which tells you both how old I am and what season my birthday is in. And it was the coldest day of the year, and the heat in the synagogue didn't work. And so everybody was sitting there in their parkas. And it was great. It was fine. So I see you in your parka and your hat. Keep it on if you're comfortable. Do whatever you need to do to be comfortable here tonight. I want to invite you to sit up a little bit straighter, to put your feet on the floor, and sit in a way that allows you to take a deeper breath and relax your shoulders. Close your eyes if it's helpful. And set an intention for your Shabbat beginning right now. Maybe it is just to find the blessing in the moment. Maybe it is to find the blessing in this past week. Maybe it is to just orient toward being present, come what may. Maybe it is to bring in a little bit of joy. Take a moment, set yourself an intention. And we turn to page 2.
Adonai.
Machon Kiso, Ish Lefanav Tilech, Tzavik Tzara. Notice all this nature imagery and chaos imagery, but the chaos that's embodied in all of the different functions of nature. Turn to page 5. In the middle of 6. Moshe v'Aharon v'Chohanan u'Shmuel v'Korei Shimon Korim el Adonai v'hu Shomru edotav v'chok natan lamo Adonai Eloheinu ata anitam El noseh hayita lahem v'nokem al alilotam Romemu Adonai Eloheinu v'hishtachanu lehar kodsho Ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu. Stand whatever way you're able on 7. Yizmor leDavid Havol Adonai b'nei Elim Havol Adonai seat. Over the past few weeks, I mean, certainly over the past year, but over the past few weeks, basically since, early November, people have been asking Rabbi Stephen and I, like, how are you? We're somehow, I don't know, like suffering in this moment. And I have to say, like, in this moment, here, in this moment, I am not suffering. And when I say to people, I'm doing fine, thanks, I'm okay. Oh, but like holding the whole community during a moment like this, and I'm like, okay, right now might be the calm before the storm. But Shabbat is always the calm in the midst of the storm. We always have this space, no matter what is happening and whatever will be happening, this holy space where we get to do what we just did and will do for the rest of the night, which is sing together and stomp on the floor and make harmony and connect in voice and in spirit and in a sense of moral imagination and ambition and learning Torah. Like, all of that is what has kept our people going for thousands of years, people. And I am grateful for that. I am so happy about that. And I'm grateful that you show up. All of us, we will continue to need spaces that lift us up, no matter what is going on, swirling around us in the world outside. And I'm really feeling that tonight. So we're on 8.
לקראת קלה פני שבת נקבלה שמור וזכור בדיבורך השמיענו אל המיוחד אדוני אחד ושמו אחד לשם ולתפארת ולתהילה לך דודי לקראת קלה פני שבת נקבלה לקראת שבת לכו ונלכה כי מקור הברכה בראש מקדם נסוך סוף מעשה במחשבה תחילה לך דודי לקראת קלה פני שבת נקבלה מקדש מלך עיר מלוכה קום מצאי מתוך ההפכה רב לך שבת בעמך בכה והוא יחמוד עלייך חמלה לך דודי לקראת קלה פני שבת
We're going to turn to page 9.
ולא תבושי ולא תקלמי
tune change. L'chado dili krat kala, Pnei Shabbat nekavela. L'chado dili krat kala, Pnei Shabbat nekavela. V'hayulim shisasho zayit v'rachaku gom mevalayit yasis alayit Elohayit kimsos chatan alkala. L'chado dili krat kala, Pnei Shabbat nekavela. L'chado dili krat kala, Pnei Shabbat nekavela. Yaminu smoti broti ve'at Adonai tariti al yadish ben parti ben ismecha ben nagila. We stand l'chado dili krat kala, Pnei Shabbat nekavela. L'chado dili krat kala, Pnei Shabbat nekavela. We open the door and we let in the Shabbos queen, who is also Jody Schneiderman, but leave the door open. I love it when that happens. We welcome in Shabbos bride, Shabbos queen, Shabbos energy into the space. Remind yourself of what the intention was that you set for yourself 20 minutes ago. See how you're doing. Boi b'shalom ateret bala gam b'simcha u'b'tzola toch emunei yam segula boi l'chado dili krat kala, Pnei Shabbat nekavela. L'chado dili krat kala, Pnei Shabbat nekavela. Take out that little page. Sevivot sof 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 Chanukah uchag tov, Chanukah uchag tov. Sevivot sof 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 v'sof kol v'chol. Nes gadol haya po, nes gadol haya po. Chag v'sof u'v'chol. Sevivot sof 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 Chanukah uchag tov, Chanukah uchag tov. Sevivot sof 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 Chag simcha ulam. Nes gadol haya sham, nes gadol haya sham. Chag simcha ulam. You're just getting in the holiday spirit. Everyone else is, you know?
We deserve like a little on-ramp.
My kids said, at Target, they know there are Jews in the world.
I gotta say, this year's Target Hanukkah drop is pretty cute.
Fantastic.
It's, you know, it's funny because there is like a few times of year, and this is one of them. I mean, maybe this is a longer drash, and maybe I'm gonna regret saying this, but like, where you really feel that you are a minority in this country. You know? And actually, like, and my kids were like, but why is it only Target where they know that it's, you know, they're Jews? And I'm like, well, because actually we're a minority in this country. Not everybody is thinking about our experience, but we are. And and it's really, really nice when people say Happy Hanukkah for whatever reason. They identify me as a Jew. I guess I am a rabbi. Maybe so. Fair enough. Touche. Okay. Turning a little more serious. At the bottom of page 9, there are these words that we always offer to people in our community who are newly mourners, people who have had someone in their family die in the past week. And I'm conscious, Elise, you're here, and just having lost your mom. And Judy Yacker is here, sort of behind me, representing yourself, and Scott, who just lost both of his parents. And is there anybody else in the room who is really like newly in mourning? So we say to you these words at the bottom of page 9: Hamakom yinachem etchem betoch sha'ar avlei Tzion v'Yerushalayim. May the Holy One comfort you among the mourners of our people and all people. May you find comfort in their memories. We can take a seat.
Yeah, sure. Well, welcome again, everyone. Shabbat Shalom, and because they're doing it, we can do it. Happy early Hanukkah.
Yeah.
That's right.
I'm Rabbi Steven. This is Rabbi Lizzie. This is our amazing davening team. We have Matthew and Talius and Benji and Eli and Erica and Lauren and Henry and Emma and Carol. We have a full house today in Caroline. It is amazing, and thank you all for being here, bringing yourselves, whether you are here for the first time or have come many times, whether you know the words on the page or this is all new to you, whether you're a good singer or a shower singer, you're welcome here, and your voice is welcome here. I saw a few people raise their hands earlier when you said that you were brand new here for the first time, and it is our tradition at Mishkan to lovingly embarrass you by having you stand up and share your name, where you're coming from, neighborhood-wise, and maybe a sentence of what brought you here or who brought you here. So if you're one of those people who raised your hand earlier, this is so that we can like shower love on you afterwards when we're schmoozing out there over food and drinks. So I thought I saw a hand over there. If you don't mind, standing up and just sharing your name.
Wait, and actually, here, you know what?
Oh my God, we have a mic.
Here. It's the talking stick. Pass it to the next person.
We've upgraded. Also, hi folks on live stream. We love you too.
Hello. My name's Margie Kay. I live in Ukrainian Village, and I've been watching from a distance. I've been wanting to come here, and it hasn't happened. And Phil, my very good friend for many, many years, has been very instrumental in this. But I'm here, I just joined about a month ago, so I'm very happy to finally get here, and thank you.
We're so glad you're here. We're so glad you're here.
I'm Felix, here from just south of London, England. I'm visiting my best friend Zia, and I've heard so much about Mishkan. So happy to be here.
We're so glad you're here. We love Zia. Yay, thanks for being your friend.
Hi, I'm Kaylin, also in Ukrainian Village, and I took the renewal class with Rabbi Steven recently.
Amazing. We're so nice to see you.
I'm Emma. I'm from Lakeview, so this area, and I'm here because Kaylin brought me here.
Amazing. Welcome.
I'm Joe. I'm from just down the block, and I'm here because they brought me here.
Amazing, Joe from down the block. Pass the talking stick to where it needs to go. Over here. We can kind of.
It's like the Olympic baton.
It really, truly is like the Olympic baton.
Hi, I'm Jacob. I'm from Logan Square, and I'm here because Kia brought me here.
Amazing. Anybody else? No? Awesome. We can pass it back. Well, welcome again. If you're brand new here, if you've been here many times, we're so just happy to have you in this space that we're slowly warming up. I'm feeling my fingers and toes just a tiny bit more. We'll be back for one more Shabbat before we go on a short break for the winter to give our staff some time to hibernate, to see loved ones, to take a rest. So next Saturday, we'll be at the office, I believe, for morning services. You can also catch us online for a virtual Shabbat the night before. And we have, speaking of Hanukkah, so much Hanukkah programming happening. The miracle of Hanukkah this year is that there were a holiday that lasted 8 days, but enough programming to fill an entire month. Truly. So on tomorrow, we have a family Hanukkah celebration. And then the next day, actually, no, also tomorrow, we have a celebration for anybody who has a neurodivergent child as well. And then on Sunday, we're doing a field trip to see Herschel and the Hanukkah Goblins, which is for K through 5th, but also it sounds a lot of fun for adults too. Also on Sunday, we're having our Queer Hanukkah hang. A week after that, on the 21st, we're having our 20s and 30s Hanukkah party with Temple Shalom, which will be fun.
Can people still sign up for all this stuff on the website?
People can sign up for all this stuff, mostly. Yeah. Please come. We have spots, I think, on all these things. I think Herschel and the Hanukkah Goblins, I think you have to get your own ticket now. But there are still tickets available. We also have First Night Hanukkah hang happening with Rabbi Lizzie. We have small groups who are doing board game nights and a Evanston-Skevinson gathering, potluck. I mean, there is so much happening. Unless you think that the fun stops at Hanukkah, if you are already thinking about Purim, this is totally real,
Now
folks.
you are.
This is real, and you're completely unprepared for Purim, which is if you've ever thought, wow, Mishkan puts on this amazing spiel, which is just so witty, funny, and deeply embarrassing for the rabbis every year. And you want to be part of that fun, talk to Zach Weinberg back there. Wearing the beanie, waving at all you. So if you'd like to get involved, talk to him after services, and he will tell you more about how you did to create the joy and delight of Purim, which is actually only in 3 months.
This is like writers, actors, improv people, funny people.
People who think they're funny.
Yeah, right? Yeah? Oh my God, I wish... Great.
Which is to say, if you're funny or think you're funny, go talk to Zach about that. Or if you're a good hang, if you're fun to hang out with too.
That's right.
So Hanukkah now, Purim in the future, Shabbat next week, all of our small groups, all of our support groups. There's so much happening. Did I miss anything?
If you want to look at all the stuff Rabbi Stephen said, there's a QR code on a little piece of paper out there that you can get on our email list. This is all in our email, but and all on our calendar. So yeah, great.
I think we should keep rolling.
I think we should. I think we're going to turn to page 13 and stand. Yeah. Let us. Obviously, anytime we're standing, be comfortable. Whatever works for you. We're facing east, which is that way.
Baruch hu et Adonai hamevorach.
Baruch Adonai Borach Leolam Vaed.
Baruch Adonai Borach Leolam Vaed. Baruch Adonai
You can take a seat.
You open the gates of heaven at the right times. You establish the cycles, the days and nights, seasons and constellations. U'maver yom v'in laila, u'mavdil ben yom v'in laila. Adonai tzavot shemo, el chai v'kayam, tamid yimloch aleinu le'olam va'ed. Baruch ata Adonai, hamariv ha'ravim. Ahavat olam, Beit Yisrael chavta. You've taught us the Torah mitzvot, teaching us a way to live. Ki hem chayenu ve'orach yameinu, u'behem negei yomam v'layla. Ve'avatcha al tasir mimenu lolamim. Baruch atah Adonai, ohev amo Yisrael. We cover our eyes, take one deep, grounding, present breath for each word of the Shema. Middle of page 15.
ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודך
bottom of page 17.
Make our way through page 18. Find your way to the bottom. Umalchuto batzon kiblu alehem Moshe umriam uvnei Yisrael lecha anushra b'simcha rabba ve'amru chulam mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai mi kamocha neder b'kodesh nora tehilot osef Malchutecha rauvanecha bokeyam lifnei Moshe ze Eli anu ve'amru Adonai yimloch le'olam v'ed v'nema kifadadna Yaakov gulo miad chazak mimenu Baruch atah Adonai Ga'al Yisrael. We turn to Hashki Venu on page 19. This is a moment where we think of those in our lives, those around the world in need of just a little extra prayer tonight. With the news coming out of Israel and Palestine, of a potential ceasefire, wouldn't that be great? We pray that the sukkah of peace, the shelter of peace, spreads over each and every person living in fear of bombs, of guns, of violence, not knowing where to go, in captivity, fearing for their families, their loved ones. We think of the people in our own lives struggling with illnesses of mind, of body, of spirit. Maybe tonight you're thinking of yourself. In need of an extra little prayer. This season of light in the darkness, with the Shabbat candles twinkling behind us, the candles of Hanukkah on the verge of twinkling, reminds us of the ability of even the smallest light to illuminate the dark and the cold. And so don't discount your prayer this evening. That prayer might just be that little flame that's needed to push the darkness away.
Using the words that are on the bottom of that little sheet you have in your Siddur.
Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom Hamideinu shomereinu l'chaim Hashkivenu Adonai
V'chos aleinu sukat shlomecha. Baruch atah Adonai. Haporei sukat shalom aleinu. Ve'al kol amo Yisrael. Ve'al kol yoshvei tevel. Ve'ha Yerushalayim. We stand on page 20.
ושמרו בני
ישראל
את השבת לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם ביני ובין בני ישראל לא תדעי עולם כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ וביום השביעי שבת יתקדש שמי רבה
אמן.
נעמד ברכרותיה וימליך מלכותיה בחייכון ויומכון וחיי תוכל בית ישראל בגלה בזמן קריב ואמרו
אמן. יהי שמי רבה ברך לעולם ולעלמיה.
יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל שמי תקודשה
ברכו.
לילה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה ושבחתה ונחמתה תמירן בעלמה ואמרו
We'll take a moment for personal silent prayer. You can use the words of the page found in your Siddur from pages 21, 27. You can use the words in your heart. And just take this moment to breathe, to be present. The custom is to take 3 steps backwards and 3 steps forward as if entering a prayer space, all of your own. When we feel your prayer is completed, you may have a seat.
Every week when rabbis set up to write sermons for Shabbat, there's always like a calculus you're doing. There's the Parsha, the week's Torah portion. There's like if there are any holidays coming up. And then there's whatever's going on in the world. And then there's like whatever's knocking around in your own life that's rising to the surface, you know? And you kind of have to, you know, tease it apart and put it together and figure out, you know, if there is some kind of connection that unites and aligns all of these arbitrarily, you know, mismatched things. And sometimes there's not, but this week there is. This week there is. And then the question is, when you find that there is that alignment, like, what is the message? So I have a theory, and I want to start with the Parsha. So we open up, as I said, and we meet Jacob. Well, we've met Jacob already, Yaakov, who is preparing to meet his brother Esau after decades of estrangement. And so because we haven't really talked much about this over the past few weeks here, I want to give a little bit of backstory. I'm also always surprised, like there are all these like quote Bible stories that I feel like maybe we rabbis think are like in the general consciousness, like when you say Jacob and Esau, like everybody knows the whole story. And what I have learned is like that is just not true. Like not true. It is worth doing a little review sesh. So Jacob and Esau. Esau is Jacob's older brother by about a millisecond. The Torah describes they're the twin sons of Isaac and Rebekah, and they come out of the womb. The text says Esau is like red and hairy, and so they call him Esau. And Jacob comes out grasping at his brother's heel, and Yaakov means heel grabber. They named him heel grabber after what he was doing. And that kind of defines a lot of his early life. His brother, Esav, is like out in the field. He hunts, he gathers. He's like a man of the forest. And it says that Jacob like stayed inside in the tent, you know, doing whatever people did in the tent 2,000 years ago. And it's interesting in the sense that Torah is a little bit like a mythology or an anthropology of our people and of humanity. Esau represents like hunter-gatherer lifestyle, you know, like living by your physical strength in the world. And Jacob, in some ways, represents like the agricultural person, the person who is cooking inside, planning and having kind of a longer time horizon for what survival is. And we see this in a few examples in the Torah. And so here's one. This is like, we would have read this 2 weeks ago. And you'll see why I'm giving like these particular examples. Esau comes home from like a massive, like really big hunting day. He is exhausted, he is hungry, and he comes into the kitchen and Jacob is making soup. He's making lentil soup. And Esau says, "Oh my God, I'm so hungry, can I have some?" And Jacob says, "If you give me your firstborn birthright." And Esau, being hungry and being sort of like thinking in the short term, says, "Okay." And the text says, and thus Esau spurned his birthright. And he lives to regret this hasty decision, but it's been done. And like when a vow is made, when a blessing is given, these are a big deal in the Torah. They can't be retracted. That birthright is now Jacob's. Decades later, Esau is married. These kids are now adults. And they're over at their parents' house, and Isaac is not doing well. Isaac is blind at this point. He's sick. He knows he doesn't have long to live. And he says to his favorite son, Esau, "You know what, son, could you go out and hunt me something delicious, some kind of good game, and bring it back for me? That would make me feel so good." And Esau says, "You got it, Dad." And he runs out there. And Rebekah then says, "Jacob, get over here. You go in there. Pretend to be Esau. You get the blessing that your father was going to give to your brother." And Jacob's like, "Mom." This is all in the Torah, by the way. It sounds like I'm embellishing or improvising, but actually, literally, like, read the story. This is what he's like, "Mom, Dad's totally going to know. Our voices are different. My brother is hairy. I am clean shaven. There's no way Dad will be fooled." And she's like, "Here, whoosh, here's a fur coat. Wear this. Here, whoosh, here's like a calf that I just cooked up. Give him this. He'll like this. Pretend to be your brother. Go." And Jacob goes in there, and like they have the conversation. The father's like, but you know, you sound just like Jacob, but Reach out, let me feel you. Oh, I guess you feel kind of like Esau. Well, all right. And he gives him the blessing. And this blessing is like the blessing that the firstborn is supposed to get. And in the Torah, there's like this whole kind of overturning of the, usual social order where the older kid gets the stuff. It's the younger kid who ends up getting the blessings, whether by hook or by crook. And in this case, by deception, Jacob gets this blessing that, the character of God had told Rebekah when he was in the womb, when they were in the womb fighting, like the younger son will prevail over the older. And she could not figure out how this was going to happen. And then she saw her window. And Isaac gave Jacob the blessing. You, the younger, will prevail over the older. And of course, then Esau comes home and realizes what has happened. Isaac can't take back the blessing. Esau is devastated. This is like heartbreaking to read in the text. He's crying. He's mortified, understandably. Isaac feels duped and betrayed by his own son. Then Esau turns his sadness into rage and revenge and vows that when, the mourning period for his father is over, he is going to kill his brother Jacob. At which point Rebekah, understanding that he is serious, says to Jacob, get out of here. Go, leave. Go to my brother's house, Lavan. He'll take care of you. And and also maybe you can marry one of his daughters, because marrying cousins is a thing we do. And that's what happens. He goes to Lavan. And we could talk about that whole thing for a second, but just, I wonder, for Rebekah, for Rebekah, the character, do you think it was worth it? Breaking up her whole family, to kind of engineer this prophecy, right? To control and lie to the people you love most, to try to create the outcome that you think is the right outcome. And what she's teaching her son, of course, her favorite son, what she is teaching him is the way to get ahead is to lie and trick and deceive even the people you love most, even the people who trust you, right? And then when the heat gets turned up, run away. And this is how Jacob, our ancestor, learns that the world works. This is his socialization. This is what shapes his life, lies. And it's, his mother's, his own participating in this. And then later on, he goes to Lavan's house, and you may know this story, especially if you've ever been to a Jewish wedding, and, the groom takes the veil and, puts it over the bride's face and then picks it up as if to say, like, peekaboo, are you the right girl? Because, of course, Lavan, Rebekah's brother, deceives Jacob. Jacob falls in love with Rachel. He loves Rachel, and he's going to marry Rachel. And Lavan says, okay, work for 7 years. You can marry Rachel. And then on the wedding night, Jacob wakes up in the morning and, it's the wrong sister. And then Lavan says, oh, but my goodness, it's not our custom in this place to marry off the younger before the older. Work another 7 years for me. And then you can marry the older one too. And so Jacob works for this man for 14 years and marries both daughters, which, by the way, is later forbidden by Jewish law because it does not go well. Don't do that. Don't marry sisters. And then also their servants. They have 12 children. Like, Jacob's life is shaped by lies. His lies, his mom's lies, his uncle's lies. Turns out Rachel is a little bit sneaky too. This he understands is how the world works if you want to survive. And so pause for a minute from this fun soap opera that is the Torah. I feel like I should have given a trigger warning that anybody who thinks the Bible is like this holy book that is full of pure, good people, it's like the entire book of Genesis is full of like deeply problematic stories about our ancestors. They're us, But take a minute now to think about what has shaped the way that you understand the world works. Are you fundamentally trusting of people? Are you suspicious of people? They will take advantage of you. You cannot let your guard down. Do you think people are like fundamentally generous or selfish? There's a line in this Taylor Swift song where she goes, this is how the world works. You gotta leave before you get left. And I'm like, oh my God, who taught you that's how the world works? That's not how I understand relationships. But I understand that is how some people understand relationships. And I want to, like, how does that happen? Like,
right? How do you come to form your basic beliefs about what to expect in the world from your own family members, from your workplace, from school, from people you meet on the street, from health insurance companies, right? Our disappointment can live out in very destructive ways. But some of that is just based on what we expect to be done for us or by other people. In any case, right, I tend to be the kind of person who like leaves my car on with the keys in it and all my stuff in it to go inside and grab my Starbucks order. But that's me. That's not Jacob. Now let's go back to the story here for a moment, because now I think I've like caught you up appropriately to Vayishlach, to this week's Torah portion. So Jacob is now decades out from this episode with Esau, where he stole his blessing. They have both grown wealthy. They've both grown big families. They've both grown big, herds of flocks and servants. And Jacob hears that Esau is coming to meet him with a retinue of 400 men. And Jacob freaks out. And he splits up his family and his flocks, anticipating that Esau wants to do him harm. And if he does want to do him harm, well, at least, if he harms this group of the family, he won't get these people. And the darndest thing happens. As they approach each other, both with their enormous, entourages of armies and servants behind them, Jacob and Esau see each other, and they fall on each other's shoulders and weep and embrace. And Esau cries on his brother's neck, and he looks up. They kiss. Esau says to him, "Who are these people?" Looking at Jacob's family, and it's like they come out from, cowering behind the rocks and the trees. And Jacob says, "Well, this is the family God has blessed me with." And one by one, they come out of their hiding places and they bow low. And Esau says, "Why did you bring all these people with you?" And Jacob's like, "Basically to bribe you so you wouldn't kill me." And then Esau says to him, "I have more than enough. I'm fine. Keep your stuff." And Jacob insists then, "No, you don't understand." He can't even believe this is happening. Seeing your face is like seeing the face of God. Please take what I'm offering you. And so Esau accepts. And then they have another argument, like, "You go first." No, you go first. No, okay, I'll go first, but you take some of my guys to take care of you because, you've got a lot of people and kids. And it's just like this sweet family moment. These brothers, despite a lifetime of Esau's very real and earned animus toward Jacob and desire for revenge, and then Jacob's fear, anger, suspicion, they have managed to transcend that into a moment of authentic and vulnerable encounter with the other, with their enemy. And it changes everything. It changes everything. And they were not being naive when they, sidled up to one another, right? They approached each other. They each had all their guys, their armies, their servants. But they allowed themselves to be open to the possibility that the story could change, that their story could change, that the future could change, that they could change, that the other could change, that the future could be different than the past. And it was. And they made it so. And they meet each other's wives and kids, and Jacob experiences this as a revelation, right? He says, to see you is to see the face of God. And I think that revelation is this revelation that cunning and suspicion and assuming the worst of people, assuming that everyone's out to get you, including your own family, for your own protection, it might have gotten him this far, but he realizes this is not how I want to live in the world anymore. Right? Or to quote a different Taylor Swift lyric, "Never be so kind, you forget to be clever, but never be so clever, you forget to be kind." And meeting Esau has shown him this. And Esau has changed from this vengeful brother to a generous and loving person. And perhaps, Jacob thinks, I can too. And the rest of the Parsha, and honestly, the rest of the book of Genesis, paints a picture of Jacob as a father who is growing older and wiser and learning to navigate the world with this strange new thing, integrity and honesty and moderation, while his children, and this is unfortunate, have already learned his life's lessons, how the world works, and they create chaos wherever they go, deceiving and bullying people, including in their own family. And we'll get to more of that next week. I want to invite you for just a second to reflect on something that you used to think was true. That maybe you grew up thinking this is how the world works. And now you actually know better because of something that happened to you or some experience that you've had or some encounter with reality that has changed your mind. Take a second to think about it. We did this at a board meeting last night. I asked this question, and people had the most beautiful answers. Everyone's was different. What is a truth you know now that actually is, a shift different away from something that you thought was how the world worked growing up? I want to take a second and actually hear a few. Anybody feeling brave? Pass this back to Joshua, please.
I mean, I can't quite come up with a specific example, but that the things that happened to me that were damaging don't actually have to be damaging. That I can let go of the pain or the response that happened in the moment, and it can just be, and I can be what I choose to be, as opposed to what I responded to when I was younger.
Thank you. Here, pass it back to Karen right next to you. Sorry. Thank you.
I think as a young person, I believed that all young people were loved.
Do you want to say one more thing about how you came to learn that's not the case? I mean, I know it's probably like a whole coffee we could have, but like a sentence?
I think just being exposed in the world to how young people are treated, how children are treated, and just reading, it became apparent very soon. But as a child, you just expect that children are loved, and they're not.
Thank you. I'll pass it back to me, and then I'll pass it that way. Yeah, send this over to Susan.
I'll share that I used to think that life was very linear, that there was this path that you got on and you stayed on, and that was the way. And I feel like I've learned that life is very multifold in the paths that you can take, and you can change paths, and your path can evolve. And that's been a big, I guess, lesson so far.
Thank you. That's so great. Yeah, pass it to Susan right here.
The shift for me was from looking at what's wrong and what's not possible to looking at the positive and what's possible.
Beautiful. Let's just take one more. There is one more. All right, send it over here to.
I think I grew up thinking that at the end of the day, I had to take care of myself. That was always going to be I was the one I could count on to take care of me. And then certain people who love me taught me differently.
Thank you. Beautiful. I feel like this is a good first date question. You know what I mean? Second date? I feel like maybe first date. And, if they earn a second date, you do it again. Because probably you have multiple answers to this question. Probably, that was one of a few answers you thought of. So maybe the second date is the thing that, you can't say on the first date. But these are so powerful. And it's so powerful to realize, we are shaped by all manner of forces, positive and harmful. And those do not have to define us forever. They just don't. We can evolve. And I think that's where Hanukkah comes in. So Hanukkah's coming up in just under 2 weeks. And if you ask any kid who learned in Sunday school what the miracle is, they'll say, after the Maccabees won the war, against who? I don't know. Where? I don't know, somewhere far away. In the temple. Where's the temple? Maybe they'll say Jerusalem. But what they do know is that there was a little cruse of oil in this defiled place that when they went in, they tried to light the lamp, and they knew there was only light for one day, there was only enough oil in the thing for one night, but the miracle was that it lasted 8 nights. And that's why, to this day, we light 8 nights of Hanukkah candles. Beautiful story, utter fiction. Don't tell the kids. In actuality, the original miracle of the Hanukkah story was that against the backdrop of oppression and persecution of Jews in Israel by the Syrian Greek ruling government led by King Antiochus, which, by the way, you can't read about this in the Bible. Go looking in the Hebrew scriptures for the Hanukkah story, you will not find it. You have to go pick up a Bible with Apocrypha, and there you will find the Maccabees chapters, the stories of the Maccabees. You can go online now, obviously, and find it, but when I was in rabbinical school, I bought this enormous red volume. I have 17 Bibles in my house, but only one of them has the Maccabees in it. And you can read this story. And what King Antiochus did to Jewish people, to embarrass them, to shame them, to humiliate them, and to kill them, was cruel and disgusting. And so the Maccabean army, this little guerrilla fighter group, fought back. They fought back, and they were a smaller force. They were, they were less well-trained, didn't have nice stuff. But at the end of a few years it took, this ragtag band of fighters defeated the Seleucid army and reestablished Jewish rule. And then the miracle at that time, was celebrating this unlikely military victory and the establishing of Jewish sovereignty in this space. So you can understand why the early state of Israel reclaimed the Hanukkah story, because it felt very resonant to that story. Here's the problem. The Maccabees might have been great warriors. They were not great statesmen. They could organize to fight against something, but once they were in power, they were only for themselves. They were just as corrupt and violent and despotic and cruel as their predecessors had been. And this time they did it to their own people. And it went from bad to worse, and within 100 years, this miracle crumbled. And the Roman army defeated and exiled the Jews from the land. Enter the Tisha B'Av story. So what do you do with an 8-day holiday that's all about celebrating a military victory once the military has been defeated? Right? Does the holiday go away? No. You hold on to the inspiration, you hold on to the light, and you change the story. And so after hundreds of years, the rabbis of the Talmud that wrote the story of Hanukkah, they said, my Hanukkah. What is Hanukkah? Because there was such a thing as Hanukkah. It existed, but they needed to justify it. They needed to give it a reason, a story. And so they offer up the story of the oil, the miracle of the oil. Maybe it's fiction. Maybe it's not fiction, but it's truth. And the truth is that as we light up lights in darkness, we remind ourselves that we can respond to reality around us. We can change our reality as well. We can realize the story we've been telling ourselves about our family, our country, Israel, this country, that might have gotten us this far, is no longer working, and that we can adapt and change those stories and change the future. We have to, actually. We have to. Jacob did it. Esau did it. The rabbis who wrote our tradition did it constantly. And as a result, we have a more hopeful, resilient tradition that values peace as the ultimate achievement and embraces honesty and vulnerability as paths to healing. And we, too, have the ability to shed the lenses and stories that no longer serve us, that are no longer true, or maybe just no longer true in every situation. And each one of you has done this, maybe multiple times. We can move from a place of suspicion to authenticity. We can move from a place of fear to faith and maybe even trust, from isolation to partnership and allyship. We can move from being the victim to asserting our agency and reclaiming our power. And I think Jacob's and Esau's lesson and the lesson of Hanukkah is that perhaps power is not so much might or control as it is the power to grow and evolve and adapt and recreate ourselves in light of the reality in front of us, and to believe that that's possible for us, for our world, for each other. The poet Nikki Giovanni, may her memory be a blessing, she died this week. She said, "As I've grown older, I refuse to let who I was at 25 inform or make me be somebody else who somebody else thinks I should be at 72. She said that when she was 72. So I want to invite us, as we go into this season of lights, to see in these lights our own power and growth and ability to evolve into a more hopeful version of ourselves toward a more hopeful future for all of us. Ken Yehi Ratzon. May it be so. May it be so. And I want to invite you to stand as we turn to 32 and begin to close out our service. עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונם, ואנחנו בורים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא. At the bottom of 32.
To remain standing if you are remembering somebody tonight, if you're in a period of mourning, observing a yard site. Otherwise, you may be seated. Just take a moment. We'll go around the rooms and share the names of the people that we're thinking of this evening.
My father-in-law, Gene Miller, and my mother-in-law, Donna Miller.
friend Paul Sanchez.
We are started with my Papa Norm and my Grandma Ann.
Anybody else? We're on page 34. Yitgadal Vitkadash Shemei Rabba.
Amen.
Be'alma Divra Chirute Ve'amlich Malchute Bechayachon Uvyomechon Uvchayed Zechol Beit Israel Ba'agala Uvizman Kari Vimru Amen. Yehe Shmei Rabba Mevarach Leolam Ome Almayam. Yitbarach Vishtabach Vitpa'ar Vitroman Vitnaseh Vit Hadar, Vit Ale, Vit Halal, Shemei, Tikudisha,
Brichum.
La'ela, Min Kol, Birchata, Veshirata, Tushbechata, Venechamata, Da'amiran, Be'alma, Vimru, Amen. Yehe, Shlama, Rabba, Min Shemaya, Vechaim, Aleinu, Vel, Kol Yisrael, Vimru, Amen. Ose Shalom, Bimromav, Hu Ya'aseh Shalom, Aleinu, Vel, Kol Yisrael, Vel kol yoshvei tevel, v'imru.
Amen.
Yehi zichronam livracha. May their memories all be a blessing and a source of light in this time.
Amen, amen. Before we make kiddush and motzi, and thank you to Leah Ari and to Joe Pryor, who sponsored kiddush tonight, and they did it in honor of Mishkan's staff. So you're getting a big round of applause if you're at home, Leah, Ari, and Joe. Thank you. And our staff loves you and appreciates you. And we all here who will be eating the food that you sponsored love and appreciate you. And just to say, we're 2 weeks out from the end of the year. And if anyone wants to sponsor or donate just to support our staff or anything at Mishkan.
Or become a builder.
Or become a builder. It's a great time to do that. You set the bar high by standing up and saying that you did it, just a few months ago, and here you are. But part of the reason to do that, to jump in with both feet and join the community, is because we are throwing ourselves a big fat birthday party in January. January 25th is our bat mitzvah. It is our bat mitzvah party, and we're throwing ourselves a bash. And with a montage and a DJ and everything.
Caricature artist.
Caricature artist, signature drinks. It'll be all kinds of fun. It'll be Saturday night at 4:30 in the afternoon, from 4:30 to 8:30. So it's you could still go out afterwards. And we'd love to celebrate with you. And so I, just putting it out there. Yeah, and then also on Christmas, at the end of Christmas Day, which is the first night of Hanukkah, I will be in our office singing Hanukkah songs and lighting candles and eating Chinese food.
And you're invited to that.
And you are invited to that. Yes, I will be there alone and you're not invited. No, rather, I will be there and you are invited. I would love to do that with you and your families and loved ones. Anywho, let's stand. Let's do it. Kiddush is on page 30 if you want to join us. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu mitzvotav v'ratzavanu v'shabbat kodsho v'ahava uvratzon hinchilanu zikaron lema'aseh v'reshit. Ki hu yom techila lemikra kodesh zecher letziat Mitzrayim ki vanu v'charta ve'otanu kidashta im kol ha'amim v'shabbat kodshecha be'ahava uvratzon hinchaltanu baruch atah Adonai mekadesh haShabbat. L'chaim.
Will you do the honors of Vanna Whiting the...
Before we say this blessing for a motzi, I want to say to you, before you leave on your way out, say hello to the person or people around you who you did not, already get to greet tonight, and just introduce yourself, say hello before you leave. All right? And as you're feeding each other challah, or feeding yourself challah, and maybe feeding it to them because you got to know each other very well in a short amount of time. Okay.
Reach your hands towards the challah or towards the person in front of you as we bless this bread and the hands that made it. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Amen.
Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyon, Melech Malachei HaMelachim, Kadosh Baruch Hu. Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei. Song 36. HaMelachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Adonai Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet,
Koach D-Team.
Yay, D-Team! That was so fun. Running.
It was so fun singing with you.
Go.
I would love to
Go,
sing
go.
with you more. I know. Let's sit together again.
All the time. I know. I love it. Thank you for your attempt to try and.
On my Spotify Wrapped, the Dan Nichols House Kivenu was my #1 song of the year.
That is, you need to frame that.
I really do.
That is so funny.
I was like, my top artist was Metallica, so I thought it was going to be a Metallica song, and then it's House Kivenu by Dan Nichols.
That is so freaking